Good morning. It's 9 o'clock a.m., October 6, 2023, on a Friday. I almost said Saturday. I have no idea why. This is Windows Daily Helpline number 304, where myself and the chat room stand ready to answer your questions that come to me by email or come as a comment on any of my videos or come in the chat room. This morning, drum roll please, I received an email from one of our community participants 1 hour ago. It's telling me from Martin Hogg. Yes. Hi, Doug. Looking for some guidance regarding the above, please. The above. What would be the file names, positions within folder. I have a folder on a pen drive. For those of you who don't know, that's a thumb drive, USB drive, jump drive, whatever you might want to call it, containing some media files, and would like to arrange them in a particular order other than the default, which is alphabetical order. This is for a presentation, and the audio-visual team will be controlling this. If I rename the files with a number as part of the file name, that would be at the beginning of the file name, they would appear in numerical order, but I wondered if there was a better way to achieve this, as there are quite a number of them. Well, let's start by saying that no, they would not be in numerical order, and I'm pretty sure Martin would know this. They would, if you start them with a number, they will still be in alphabetical order. And what I mean by that is that, let's suppose the number 12 numerically comes after the number 1, but alphabetically, the number 1, 12 was something like that. Numerical and alphabet. Numbers can be treated alphabetically, and they'll be in a different order than if they're actually being treated as numbers. But as file names, those will be alphabetical. But that's a bit of a nuisance because he says there's quite a number of them. So what I'm reading between the lines here, what I'm imagining is that he's got a lot of files. Let's call it 100 files. So to manually go through and put a number at the beginning of the file names in the order that he wants the audiovisual team, but is that what he called them? Yeah, audiovisual team, to call them up for, I presume, a presentation of some sort. It would take a long time to change the name, the beginning of the names of each of those files. So he's wondering, is there some way that he can just drag them around in a different order? No, there is not, as far as I know, for File Explorer. There are utility programs that would help you rename a whole bunch of files, and you can tell it to rename them by putting alphabetic letters or numbers at the beginning of the file. But again, the problem is, how do you specify the order? Because they're not already in the order that you want. With File Explorer, the only thing that you can do, and I think Martin knows a lot of this already, mainly I'm talking this through for the rest of you to be able to think it through. Let's see, where do I want to go here? Okay, so let's go over here for my Live Windows Training folder. The only thing you can use is use these column headings. So status, name, you can sort by date modified, you can sort by type, you can sort by size. Now, what columns can we add to this? There's all these other columns that you can add: authors, tags, titles. So perhaps if we choose tags, and then you go to the extra trouble of putting tags on files, and I haven't even investigated, what does it take to add a tag to a file? If I go to properties, is there a place in here? I have not looked into this. So I'm wondering if maybe you can put tags on files, and then you would have to tell the audiovisual team, hey, look, be sure you click to order your File Explorer by the tags column in order to see them in the right order. I'm suspecting that might be a problem depending upon your interaction with the audiovisual team. Now that brings up what I think my best choice is for this, is ask your audiovisual team. They might already have a way to do this, because assuming this is their job, this is what they do time after time after time, they may have already been through this with one of the other presentation sources or presenters that you have in your organization, And they might have a preferred way to do this. So those are my initial thoughts. We'll go look at chat in a little bit and see. Let's see. I'm seeing Martin Hogg is given 15 degrees. I don't see. Let's see. There's another one. Martin Hogg just said hi. So maybe you can give us some more information to work from. And thank you for sending that question in. Then I'm going to go on to the other items that I have lined up in my email for today. I have an email from some chap named Doug Betts, and he's got this here. And what that was is that was a client that called me yesterday. I think first she texted me and then she called because she didn't get him in. Might have been the other way around. I don't know. But anyway, when I called her, she said, I've got this message on my screen about Windows Defender security. What do I need to do with it? And then I said, well, let me connect and see what's going on. And then I noticed on the phone call in the background, I could hear this thing yakking at her. And I thought at first that it was somebody else, the other people in her office. But then she said she's at home. And I realized, oh, this is one of those audio things that is calling out a virus warning, infection warning, whatever. You're calling the law authorities, you're going to be arrested, whatever the ugly, nasty message is that it's giving her. And I realized, oh, that's what's going on. Okay, so that's always a scam when it's talking to you. And I told her, just hold down the power button on your computer to force the computer off. Then we'll turn it back on. It'll be fine. There's nothing else I need to do to it. Your computer's not infected. And I asked her, were you doing a search on the internet, a Google search or something like that? She said, yes, but just for Amazon. I did a search. So reading between the lines here. Instead of clicking a link somewhere for Amazon, or instead of clicking the address bar and typing Amazon, she typed Amazon in her search field. Maybe, I don't know if it's Google search field or whatever, and she just clicked the first listing that came up. Well, those can get compromised. And so when she clicked on that, it triggered all these messages. Well, a little bit more about this story is when I told her, hold down the physical power button. I use the word physical power button. I want you to hold down the physical power button to force it off. And she says, okay, I did the physical power button. I'm not sure. She might have said I held it down. But later I realized, well, okay, so she held down the physical power button, right? Computer was off. And I said, okay, go ahead and turn it back on. She says, okay. Oh, it's not coming on. Oh, I guess I have to press the button on the computer as well. What? Isn't that what you just did to shut the computer off? No, I used the physical power button. When I said physical power button, she took that to mean the power strip. So that's a rocker button on the power strip. It must have, did it strike her as odd that I said, hold that down for, I don't know if I said 10 seconds or 15 seconds. So anyway, then we had a little bit of a struggle because she didn't know where the on button, the power button is for her computer. And you can see her computer here a little bit. You see this bottom edge. This is that big widescreen HP all-in-one that I showed you when we set it up for her. I had it here on the desk, like 34 inches wide, something like that. So she didn't know where the power button is. So we went to FaceTime on her phone, moving the phone around the bottom right area of the computer, trying to find the power button. We weren't doing very well because it was really dark there, so I couldn't see. So I said, well, let me just go look it up. I'll just do a Google search for your computer make and model because I have it in my record. So as I was starting to look for that, she found the power button. It was on the bottom edge, right on the right side of the computer. And she commented that it was difficult to see, difficult to detect. And I said, yeah, there's people out there that earn a lot of money to make these power buttons difficult to find. Why do they do that? Sleek design, I guess. It's the same way when the car doors have these door handles that you can't see. That started out with kids working in body shops, making the door handles invisible, hard to see, doing different creative things with our door handles, and then the car manufacturers started doing that. I don't know who was first, the chicken or the egg in that case. Martin Hogg, thanks for help, everyone. I'll work on these ideas. So apparently some ideas were given in the chat room. I'll catch up with those in a little bit. I'm going to go look at what I have next lined up. From the chat room yesterday. Brian Lightfoot says, I miss Windows 7 as much as I miss dial phones. Now, we talked about that a little bit yesterday in the chat room, but then after the show was over, I realized, wait a minute, I might have misunderstood Brian Lightfoot, because is that something I do, yes or no? I may have misunderstood Brian Lightfoot. I assumed when he says I miss Windows 7 as much as I miss telephones, I assumed he does not miss dial telephones, and therefore he does not miss Windows 7. But I don't know that. It's possible that Brian Lightfoot sincerely misses dial telephones. So did I misunderstand that? Yeah, right. Londog says Windows 7 machine is Windows 3.0 capable, and the machine will boot from a thumb drive. I don't know if I even saw this comment during the live stream, because it was towards the end, 9:22. Well, it was right after Brian's comment. But it occurred to me, wait a minute. What? Do we think Londog had a Speako? Londog doesn't do typos. He does Speakos, because he uses Dragon Naturally Speaking. So he dictates all of his chat message, right? So he can't have a typo because he's not typing. But it may be a Speako. Speako. Windows 7 machine is Windows 3.0 capable. Windows 3.0 is not an operating system. Windows 3.0 was a program that ran on top of DOS that gave us a program manager where we could launch Windows programs in that environment. So his Windows 7 machine is capable of installing Windows 3.0, meaning you would install DOS, and then Windows 3.0. Or do we think what he meant to say is that the Windows 7 machine is USB 3.0 capable, since we were talking about thumb drives and booting from a thumb drive? I think that's what's going on. Londog is my pincushion. He knows that. I pick on him and have fun with him. He knows it's all in good humor. Danielle Emberly, I ran into a problem with Synology. Active Backup for Business Rescue Drive works for new PCs, but not for the older i5 first generation computer. And we also talked about this one yesterday, and I commented, I didn't know what that is. And then she explained later, which I didn't see until after the show was over. Synology Active Backup for Business is the Synology backup software typically used to back up PCs to Synology NAS. Aha, I get it. But I don't recall that she talked to us about what the problem was. Will the computer not boot from the rescue drive? Or does it boot from the rescue drive, but then there's something else that doesn't function about it? Does it give you some kind of an error message that it's not working? So maybe there's some way that we can help with it or provide some ideas. All she said here was that she ran into a problem. It works for new PCs, but not for the older i5 first gen computer. Now, if it's that the rescue drive won't boot on the older i5 gen computer, then similar to what we were talking about with somebody else yesterday, is check the BIOS for anything that might be preventing a USB drive from booting. Consider whether that thumb drive is capable of booting on a legacy BIOS. And I'm not literate enough with all the different variations that there might be, but I'm suspecting there might be something about that older i5 first gen that might not be able to boot on that. See if you can boot from any other thumb drive, any other bootable thumb drive. You know, make a Windows 7 installation media or even Windows 10 installation media just to see if it'll boot on that, or use that utility that Zavi Manor showed us yesterday. You can find the link for that in yesterday's show. I don't think I see Danielle Emberly in the chat room. Scrolling. No. So we're not going to get an immediate answer on that, I suppose. That is everything from that email. And then here's my next one, is my PG&E weekly home energy report. I've talked to you before about Big Beast Build and how much electricity it uses. I have a way to show that here. I went to the cabin on Wednesday, so I did the Wednesday shows. I did Fortnite and I did Windows Daily on Wednesday. And then when I left Wednesday afternoon, I shut down everything here, which I commonly shut down Big Beast Build in the afternoon and use, let's see, these are kilowatts hours. These aren't times. But I will typically use Baby Beast as my computer through the rest of the day, and I only have Big Beast turned on when I need Big Beast. So I turn it off, and then all Thursday, I was not here. I didn't get back until the evening, and I never did turn Big Beast on at all on Thursday. And then Friday, I had Big Beast running all day. I did not use the air conditioner at all. That was last Friday. So other things I did on that day that would have increased utility usage is I occasionally opened the refrigerator, so that made the refrigerator work more. And of course, I have the lights on when I'm doing the shows, but after the shows are over, I turn off the studio lights. So this is what a day of using Big Beast looks like compared to a day of having it shut off for my overall household electricity usage. It's a beast of a computer. Saturday and Sunday, I also had Big Beast running quite a bit. Okay, then next thing I have. Oh, that was all of them, because the next one higher on the list was Martin Hogg's email, and we already talked about that. Then I don't have any links saved for today. I don't have any channel comments. So now we'll come over here to the chat room and have a look-see. I do have a redirect already set up for Kerry Holzman's Friday show. I started watching the show he did yesterday where he was following up on that big, powerful computer that had the motherboard problem. He got the new motherboard in, and I got up to the point where he had the motherboard in the computer. I don't think I've got to the point yet where he tried to power it on. John Williams, very good trader. Thank you, as one of the Beat Saber traders. Hope everyone has a great Friday and weekend. I replied to him. Martin Hogg, hello, hi to everyone from Wet Cool, Scotland. Alice was watching this morning on our Fortnite show. Thank you. And so was Oystein. Is Oystein in chat? And Oystein showed up on Dennis's Twitch channel as well, and we're glad to have him there. Nick Poverman, glad to be back. It was a busy 4 days. Nick, I'm deducing by that you told us what you were going to be doing for 4 days. I don't recall. Do you want to give us any more about that? Because I don't remember. Apologies. Oh, here's Oystein from Norway, again with us this morning on Fortnite. It was totally enjoyable to have you there, and Alice as well. Always enjoy it when you guys show up over there. Nick Poverman, I went to the pumpkin patch with my kids and tripped over a pumpkin, messed up my ankle. I'm fine, just caught me off guard. Off guard. Pumpkin patch, that's where you were for 4 days? 4 days of hunting for a pumpkin? My gosh, that's a little excessive. Sounds like something that a Doug would do. Obviously, that's not where he was for 4 days. John Williams and Martin Hogg, very cool. Madison, Wisconsin this morning. Ran Israel, Selden Ball. Martin Hogg with 15 degrees. I think I caught everyone's names. Ran Israel, unless you use leading zeros in the numbers. Yes, what I would do is I would start. I don't feel good about using a zero at the beginning of a file name. I'm not sure if that's ever disallowed, but I would go like 1001, 1002, or maybe depending upon how many files that you have to deal with. I can't imagine that he's dealing with more than 100 files for a presentation. If you got more than 100 files for a presentation, You need to go to presenter school. It's too many. So 101, 102, so on. You can't do, you can't do, I wouldn't want to do 01 up through 09 and then 10. I think you're going to run into some problems starting with the 0. So you'd want to start with 101 and continue. Or you could start with 11 and then 12 and then 13, but that's only going to, oh yeah, that's okay, because then you get up to 19 and then 20, 21. Yeah, you could do it that way. Do two digits starting with 10 and then going up from there. Lawn Dog, the problem with Martin, speaking from my point of view, is the files have to be organized manually. How would you know which one to label in the proper order? I think you need some mind reading software that can organize the files. I'm assuming that Martin knows the order that he wants to put them in. And so then if you could drag them around in File Explorer, that's gonna take as much time as clicking on the file name and typing in 2 digits at the beginning of the file name. Just dragging them around into the position that you want, it seems to me that's going to take as much time as putting a 2-digit number at the beginning. Now I'm on board now with 2 digits, right? The first one would be 10, then 11. Don't start with 01. Let's see, software that can organize those files. I think you need some mind reading software that can organize the files. Loran Israel, it's possible if you disable auto arrange, but this must be set individually on each computer, not so useful for flash drives. I don't think so, because auto arrange is only going to work for the desktop. If I right click up here on the desktop and choose sort by, let's see, that doesn't, there's no check marks there. Yeah, where is view by? Yeah, here, auto arrange. That's only going to control the desktop. I don't think there's any option for doing that in File Explorer. There's no auto arrange. You have to select an arrangement. Tags and authors and date created, those are columns that you can add to File Explorer, but you have to make sure that the audiovisual team remembers to do that. I think that's going to be more difficult to do. Putting 2 digits at the beginning of the file name, I think, is a better way to go. Now, you could also use alphanumeric. So instead of numbers at the beginning of the file, you could use AA, AB, and so on. But be careful about uppercase, lowercase. No, uppercase, lowercase isn't going to matter in File Explorer. There are some places where that matters. Brian Lightfoot, file names starting with 001 through 999 will keep them properly sorted. And I don't, why do I not feel, oh, I know why I don't feel comfortable about that, is because, like, if those file names get imported into a spreadsheet, well, they'll be okay as long as the file names have a mix of numbers and letters. But if they only had numbers and you import them into spreadsheet will just drop the leading zeros. You won't see them. I have a bunch of pictures. I would like to organize my hundreds of photos with the prettiest being first, but I don't want to choose which is the prettiest. Can you help me out? That sounds like AI. You want an AI bot to define which one's the prettiest. That way, when your cousins complain about you saying that Samantha is prettier than Alice, I don't want to say Alice because Alice is in our community. I don't want to, Jasmine, I'll say. You can say, oh, the AI did that. It wasn't me. Brian Lightfoot's kind of what I'm thinking. Let's see. Can you help me out? I think, is this a joke? Yeah, that had to be a joke. I was just getting ready to experiment and try using a number and see what happens. Richard Rogers, hello. Robert, hello. Browser cache pollution. I'm not sure where that comes from. Lawn Dog, well, it looks like if you put a physical number in front of the file name on the folder, it will organize them in order 1, 2, 3. File name on the folder, saying the name of the folder? Not sure I'm understanding that. Well, it looks like if you put a physical number in front of the file name on the folder, will organize them. Yes, and I did use the dot in the file name, period in the file name. Oh, you're putting one dot and then an extension. I really resist putting one dot, what, Jasmine dot JPG. The dot should be separating the file name and the extension. You can put more dots in, but it can cause some other side effects I don't think you want. Greg M., this is why I uninstall uBlock Origin on all browsers. It hides the bleeping ads in Google, and these nasty sites can be ads. Wait, what? This is why not uninstall, install. I install uBlock Origin on all browsers. It hides the bleeping ads in Google, and these nasty sites can be ads. Oh, yeah, no. I don't think uBlock Origin is going to do it, because if you type in a search term, all these the search results are not advertisements, they're search results. So I think even with uBlock Origin on your browser, you can still get search results that have been compromised. I don't know that for a fact, but they don't show up on the screen as advertisements. They're showing up as search results and looking like the legitimate site that you're trying to go to. Thanks for help, everyone. I'll work on some of these ideas. From Martin. Londog, Martin, no matter what you do, you're going to have to do it manually. There's no automated way to organize a random bunch of files in the order that you're considering to use them in. Yeah, you have to do it. So you're going to have to do some kind of manual work. So I think the way it makes most sense is to go put in a 2-digit beginning of the file name, because that's going to be the easiest for other people to recognize and utilize. So you don't have to give them any special instructions. Let's see if Ken Stout has a show this morning. He, again, didn't have a show last night. Is he okay? I'm getting a little worried here. Yeah, let's see. He's got a 6 p.m. show scheduled for yesterday. So if you want to catch his next show, then be sure to catch that yesterday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Good luck with that. Thinking about it, do the order that you're considering to use them in, do you kind of get what I'm saying? There's no way to organize what you're mentally contemplating and order the files and think about it. That's why I was trying to be humorous and make a joke about all my pictures and organize them in the prettiest order, meaning the prettiest picture first. I did get that as a joke right off the bat. There's no way to organize that unless you are using artificial intelligence and its judgment for what the prettiest folder. That'll be interesting. Yeah, it'd be interesting to have different AIs, the different competing AIs that are available, and tell them to arrange these pictures in the order of the prettiest and see what happens. Just don't show the people that are in the photos. Nick Poverman, to me, do you know how many times I tell people to turn off the computer and they turn off the monitor? Or they say, do you mean you want me to turn off the hard drive? Absolutely. Miscommunications between end users and technicians is something that's on my mind a lot recently. I got some ideas, something. I might be including something about that on the channel. Long Dog to Martin, I kind of organize my files in alphabetical using the word all and create categories like all repair videos, all PDF files. Helps me organize things. Brian Lightfoot, no, I don't miss dial-up telephones. I also don't miss buggy whips and high buckle shoes. Now, Brian, you are really dating yourself. When you turned 16 years old, want to take that girl out on a date, it was horse and buggy days. Is that what you're telling us? Lawn Dog, and of course, when you open the page with all the folders in it, everything starts with A first. I really miss the data stream noise on dial-up modems. You know what? There is something kind of enjoyable about that. Call up a fax machine just to reminisce. Why do I keep getting that? I just thought I had all my alarms set for not going off during stream time. Yes, Martin Hogg, back in the days of my wonderful Atari computer using a modem was awesome. You could tell you were online by picking up the phone. Jeff Raymond, hello. Brian DeMartin, download an acoustic modem sound effect. Problem solved. Jim says, for i5 first gen, you replace the computer. Problem solved. Well, it is. We are half an hour in. Let me get an idea how far back. Speedy C says hello. Richard Rogers, hello. Rand Israel gives us a link. Disable auto arrange in folders. This is for the desktop. That's not folders. In folders, Windows 10. If you try to rearrange files or folders, Explorer 10, then you will see they're automatically arranged, aligned to a grid. Previous Windows versions, you could freely arrange icons. This feature is not available in Windows 10. You could not disable auto arrange and align to grid in Windows 10 File Explorer. We'll show you how to disable auto arrange in folders in Windows 10. Disable auto arrange in folders, Windows 10. Create a restore point, reset all folders, views, and customizations. Regedit, interesting. Expand shell. Delete this bags key. Yeah, it's called bags. I wasn't sure if we were missing part of that name. Delete the bags subkey and these registry keys as well. Disable auto arrange in folders in Windows 10. You have to add these reg keys. So here you're using Notepad to create a registry patch. And yeah, adding those registry keys. So you can just copy all of that and paste it into Notepad. This has been created by unawave.de. This bat file has been created by unawave. That's a little concerning. Now from Notepad, save it as disable autobat as a batch file. Oh, yeah, because, it's not a registry patch. It's doing individual registry add commands. Got that. Right-click the file, run as administrator. Test if you can disable auto arrange. File Explorer, navigate. Empty, make sure to click auto arrange. Now you can drag the icons wherever you want. That's only going to work on his computer, though. When he takes that thumb drive to somebody else, they're not going to have those registry patches. He wants to give a thumb drive to the audiovisual department. Their computer is not going to have this registry patch. But interesting, I did not, that's really useful. On Mike Smith's tech show, not the one that came out yesterday, but week before, he was talking about a utility that allows you to remember the desktop locations so that if your desktop icons get rearranged because Windows does an update or something like that, that you can reload the arrangement that you used to have, because there are people out there in the world who do their workday based upon where icons are stored on the desktop, and they live and die by the arrangement of icons on their desktop. So that utility that Mike has for doing that would be a lot simpler than this, but it looks like this would accomplish the same thing where you can drag things around and they'll stick. But when you have a Windows update, if it resets that, you're lost. This other utility that Mike Smith was showing, I believe you can launch it. It will, I'm suspecting it creates its own .ini files for the arrangement of the icons on the desktop so that you can recover them to the way that you want. But thank you, Rand Israel, for that link. That was an interesting thing to be able to do. I'm not going to be storing that anywhere that I can get back to it later, because I do not want to be getting my clients leaning upon that. I want them storing their files on the server where they belong. So I don't see that that's going to be useful for me with my clients or me as an individual, but interesting to know. Brian Lightfoot, no, just using single digit will be problematic if there are more than 10 files. For example, there are 12 files. Well, yeah, use 2 digits. Daniel Emberley, I will cross that bridge when it happens. I usually used it on a music stand. To be honest, I have not done many music gigs after COVID. That was the Synology I can't get Synology Rescue Drive to boot on older i5. Macrium Reflect Rescue will boot on that one. I assume the problem relates to the old BIOS. Or it might be if you can recreate that Synology Rescue Drive and media, the rescue media. What is going on with these? All right. Yeah, if you go back and recreate that and look for options, advanced button, anything like that, to see if there's a way to create it so it'll work on an older computer. I'm going to have to catch up with these afterwards. I'll read back through the messages. I just want to hit the ones with orange. Ken Stout, lost power and internet yesterday. Power came back on around 10 p.m. No clue what time the internet came back on. I went to bed. Okay, so Ken Stout, that saves another phone call. I was about to call you and check. Hey, are you okay? 2 days in a row. Are you suffering withdrawal symptoms? Do you need a referral to what, therapist? Because you haven't been on your show for so long? I'm concerned. All right, move on, Doug. Enough of that. And Israel, that's why I said it's not useful for flash drives. Interesting. Do you have a link for that utility? Okay, well, that is worthwhile. I think he's talking about the utility that Mike Smith was talking about. Let's see, where do I have his link set up? Mike Smith. It's because the name of his show. There's so much stuff in here. He usually puts links for things on his show. Here's Mike Tech Show. He usually puts links for stuff in his show notes. So there's October 5th yesterday. So here's his show from the prior week. Was an account, allow or blocking emails, proof point, Outlook close. It might have just been a conversation. It might not have been a link that he put on the show. So I'm going to put the link for that. If you go watch this show, and I'm pretty sure it couldn't have been yesterday's show. I'll put that into Mike Smith, and you can go look at his show from last week. I seem to think it was near the beginning. All right. On tomorrow, Saturday show, normal time. And if you want to send a question for myself in the chat room to respond to, tomorrow's show includes Zoom. You can send an email to that address to send questions, or you can put a comment on any video. You can ask your question in the chat room. Have a great day, everybody. Catch you later. Goodbye.